Hello everyone, welcome back to SEAMRITE Fashion Academy YouTube channel once again today. So today will be the making of this beautiful top, princess that top, on the screen as you are seeing it right there. So now I have already drafted my basic bodies. Like I always say, I have a detailed video on how to make a basic bodies on this channel. Okay, so you can visit it to learn how you can draft your basic bodies before you can join us in this tutorial. So right here on the basic bodies drafting, I already have the shoulder line and I have my chest line right here. This is the bust point and this is under bust point, and the waistline or the front length. Here you can see I drafted both basic bodies full. Okay, it's not on a quarter, it's half of the front bodies which I drafted here, because what I have here is asymmetrical. The neckline I have right here is asymmetrical. So now, since I have an asymmetrical neckline, so you need to make your full bodies for your asymmetric neckline. So right now, if you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this each week. Like this video, share to family and friends, and drop your comments on the comment section and your suggestions as well. So the first thing we always do in our pattern drafting is to divide the shoulder line, which you are seeing right here. We always do this because this will help us for a perfect contouring of over bust. So I've divided that and I'm going to rule my line to connect to the bust point. Next I'm going to do is to take the bust radius. This is the bust radius, bust point difference by under bust. I'm going to rotate it all around, as you can see me do right here. I'm rotating it to determine where I would have to draw my neckline so I don't expose my bust, or you want to expose your bust. It serves as a guide to you. Okay, so right here I have it all around. So the same thing I did right here, I'll quickly do it over here. But before I go ahead to do that, there's something very important I want to point out to you. If you look at the top we have on the thumbnail, it has a band. So right here I'm going to create a band to it right away. I'm creating a band of 1.5 inches right from the waistline. Okay, so I'm going to use a different marker right now to create that band. So what I have right here is my band. Can you see that? What I have right here is my band. So all of this, I call it my band, as you can see. So this band we have right here, I'm going to cut it off. At the end of this tutorial, I'm going to cut and separate it and close up the dots right here. Of course, you are going to see how we are going to do it right away. Alright, so now, like I said, what I did here, I will do here before I proceed. So I'll just go in by my bust radius all around, as we always do for a perfect fit. So I just have my bust radius dropped, as you can see. Okay, so now I've done that. Next, I'll also repeat what I did, find the midpoint and then connect my line to the shoulder. Okay, all right, so I'm done and it's time to start working on the right part of this first before we move over to this. So the first thing I want to do is to determine the new neckline. This is the natural neckline, but here I'm going to come in from the natural neckline. I need this neckline at 1 inch apart. Okay, so in other words, I'm adding 1 inch all around to create the new neckline. Okay, so my new neckline, which I'm using for this tutorial right now, will be this one I'm forming right away. Okay, so I try to create the neckline, as you can see right here. Alright, so I've created the neckline now. So what it means is that I'm no longer using what I have right here. This is no longer part of the neckline we are working with right now. Alright, so the next I want to do, I want to create the princess dart. Okay, so we'll be creating the princess dart now, because that is what we have here for our upper bust tightening. So to create your princess dart, the first thing you do is to take round your armhole measurement. So I'm taking what I have round my armhole measurement from the tip to the end of this side. I have 10 inches here, half of it is 5. I come down by 1 like I always do, and I'll be placing my curve ruler to form my princess dart from that point to the bust point. So here I come in by 1 inch, and of course you know why we usually come in by 1 inch, to accommodate the dart when we are sewing it. You have to come in by 1 inch to avoid shortage. I connect back what I have for a perfect princess dart. So I repeat the same thing by taking 5 inches, which is half of the armhole, 1 inch down. I create my princess dart. Can you see? So this is what I got. I come out by 1 inch, and then I reconnect what I have at that point back to the armhole. Okay, so now we've created the princess dart and we are good to go. So the next thing we want to do now, I want to contour what I have right here at the lower part of that is the under bust. Okay, so under the bust right here, I'm going to take the measurement of what I have here from the center front to the end. I have my under bust here as 35. I'll divide by 4. This is what I have. So the remaining part of what I have here will be distributed here, 0.25, and the rest I have, I'll distribute it in there. Okay, so I'll be contouring right now, placing my ruler from the bust point to the contour line. I'll also flip my ruler and repeat the same thing right there. As you can see, to complete this line, I'll come in this way and this way, as you can see. Okay, all right, so that one is ready. I'll come over here, repeat the same thing. I'll make a mark and take the difference and put in what I have, 0.25 here, and the rest of it on the side. And then I'll contour. I'll flip this way. I will also contour. As you can see, I bring it back and I'm good to go. I'm done with the contouring. So next is to create this beautiful neckline. So to create this beautiful neckline, I'll be coming from the bust point on this part, and I'm going to take my bust radius from that point. So you can see this is where my bust radius falls. You can see on this line, this is where the bust radius falls. So I want to cover up this bust a little. So from that point, because the bust is going to sit right on this point, as you can see, so I'll just come up from that point by 0.75 or 0.5. It depends on what you actually you want to achieve. So at this point of 0.5, I'm going to mark from my shoulder to that point, and I have about 6.25, and I'll come down 6.25, and I'm going to make a straight line to it. So this straight line I'm making to it is actually where I'm going to form this beautiful neckline. So for this part now, I'm going to place my tape, my curve ruler like this, and I would want to blend it to this point. Can you see what I'm doing right here? I'm blending it right to this point. Can you see? Why this part goes into the armhole. So by the time we cut off this and sew this back, okay, it's actually going to match up and the armhole continues. Okay, all right. So the next we want to do is to create the neckline that runs from the shoulder all the way to some inches before the armhole. So I'll be taking what I have here from the neckline to the where I shed my shoulder, and that will give me 1 inch. Okay, so you check yours to know what you have, but for the purpose of this tutorial I have 1 inch. So from that 1 inch right now, I'm going to place my ruler all the way to, you can see how I slanted it, and I allow it to pass on the chest line, at the midpoint of the chest line. And wherever my ruler passes from that point, this point, I'm going to rule a line, and I'll stop some inches before. Okay, so here I have 1 inch. I stop 1 inch before the under bust. Okay, so next I've created the neckline right here. Okay, but I also notice this part is close, very close, so I can also come out a little bit. Let me do this from the neckline. I'm supposed to have 1 inch, 1 inch. So I can do this from the neckline 1 inch instead of ruling my line across. From that point I can place my ruler. At least I created 1 inch. So I'm going to draw in the 1 inch. I'm going to blend what I have from that 1 inch into this line. Okay, so I'm just going to blend it a little. Okay, when I'll be cutting it, I'll just blend it into that line, as you can see. So I no longer need this. Okay, so don't worry, you will see how it's going to turn out when we cut it. So now I'm going to finish up what I have on the neckline right here. So this is what I have on the neckline, and I'm going to, you can see how I'm positioning my ruler, making sure I have this. Okay, first of all I would want to do this because it's getting closer, of which I don't want it to get closer. What I need right here should be from here to here first. Okay, then I will now finally blend it up. Can you see? So I'll finally come in and blend it up. Can you see? So we have exactly what we have on the thumbnail. Okay, so this is the neckline right now, and this is the bust contouring. So you can also decide to contour. If you don't want to use a princess dart right here, you can also use an over bust, but because we have already used a princess dart, so there won't be any need having two bust contouring right here. So we will be using our princess dart for the bust contour line. Okay, all right, so right now we are done. The next thing we want to do is to cut off these beautiful pieces of our princess dart top, and then we'll close up our band and I'll show you what it looks like, and close up our bust dart as well. Through the princess dart, through the bust dart, and I cut through and separate my princess dart. Okay, so what I have here is my princess dart right now. So I want to also note that this part we are about to cut off now can serve as a yoke for you. That is, if you need an illusion, you can use this as your yoke. So I'm going to also cut and separate it in case you want to attach it back with your illusion. Okay, with your mesh, you can also do that. Okay, So now I cut off on the red line. The red line is my band, which I'm going to fuse back after sewing my under bust. So this is my band, and you can see the darts. So I'll quickly close up the darts. Okay, so you have to close up the dart, or you cut off the dart, any one you wish to. Okay, if you are cutting off, you cut off from here and cut off from here. Can you see? And then you bring them together. What I did here is closing the dart. That is what I did here. You bring them together. Can you see? Okay. All right. Then you cut off from here and cut off from here, and you put them together. Okay, so once you have put it together right here, you have closed up the dart. So this is what we have now as our band. So we'll be cutting what we have right here. So when you are cutting it, the waist divide by 4 is 9 inches. That is from here to here is 9 inches, plus our allowance to the dart which we added. So 9 plus 9 will give us 18. So you have to also cross check if you have 18 inches. Okay, so 18 inches, then you shift off your, okay, and make sure you have it exactly at 18 inches, as you can see, because that is the band you are going to join back to the waist. Okay, all right. So the next we want to do is to cut the princess dart line. So I'm going to cut through the princess dart, as you can see. Can you see that? And then I would want to finish up by closing my bust dart. So I close up my bust dart. So my princess dart will be ready at this point. Can you see? So I have this as F1. Okay, then I proceed with my cutting of the main body. This is the under bust. We take it away, we don't need it. Now I would want to go over here and work on what I have here as well. I come in to the princess dart again. Okay, then I come out again. Okay, so once that is done, I will also open my bust dart and close it up. So make sure you close your bust dart, okay, for a perfect bust contouring. So don't cut it off as I just did now. That was a mistake. All right, so I will be calling what I have here F3, because it will be at the last of the princess dart. So I set it aside. I also continue by cutting off the remaining darts. Can you see? And that is out. Now I cut through my armhole. I cut through the shoulder seam, and I go through the neckline. So remember that this neckline, we expanded it, okay, by coming out by 1 inch. You can decide to come out by half an inch. If you don't need the neckline too wide, you can come in by half an inch or 0.75. okay, but for the purpose of this tutorial, we did 1 inch after the natural neckline. So like I said, I would love to cut out the yoke in case you want to attach a yoke. So if you're attaching this yoke, I'm going to cut. This is the time for you to blend this line. Can you see? So I'm going to blend this line as much as I can, okay, to get what I actually need on that point. Can you see? Now I cut through the yoke. If you need a yoke, But if you don't need this yoke, you can proceed to take it off and sew it the way you want. Okay, so this is it, and this is what we have as the yoke. If you need the yoke, all you need to do is to add your seam allowances and sew back. You sew this way first and then turn the remaining and finish up on the neckline. So this is how we come to the end of this tutorial. For the front bodies, this is what we have, which is the main purpose of the tutorial. But for the back bodies, you can do whatever you want for the back bodies. So if you need this particular dress to be like this, this is what you got. Okay, then by the time you sew your princess dart, you notice everything goes in. Can you see? At the end of the day, everything matches up. And you sew your yoke. Your yoke is going to be the last you'll be sewing. You can see what we'll have when it matches up. So you can see the princess dart runs to this point, just as it is on the thumbnail. Then if you don't need the yoke, simply cut your lining exactly the way it is and turn it around. Then coming over to the back neckline is going to be the same width with this for the left part of it. The right part of it is going to be the same width. Make sure the back necklines is the same width, and you can design your back neckline the way you wish and all that. So that is how we come to the end of this tutorial. I believe you learned a lot from this beautiful princess dart tutorial. So if you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this each week. Like this video, share to family and friends, and drop your comments on the comment section and your suggestions as well. So I want you to also note that we have not forgotten our band. This is our band. Please don't forget, after you must have sewed everything, then you can now attach your band and sew your lower bodies to it. So thank you for watching once again, and see you in my next video.